What is up, everybody? Glad to be back and playing with Shashibo. Having a little bit of an issue with Instagram, it seems. So I have to do some troubleshooting. Don't worry, Instagram, we're coming. And in the brief interlude, you can watch me shuffle with my Shashibo. It says we're connected. Not seeing anything. Anyway, we'll see if I get Instagram online. If not, we're still going to have a great time. And if somebody could maybe give a shout out in the Discord that Instagram is not functioning as of right now. Or maybe if you know someone, or if you yourself could check on Instagram to see if you can see the stream, because I'm not seeing it on my end. But regardless, we shall soldier on with Shashibo on all of the other platforms. King Ravana is about to have 18 Radio Tave soon, and that's incredible. Yeah, hopefully the mail does move through this snowstorm. If you watching at home are a part of this very cold thing that we're having in the Midwest right now, you have my condolences and my sympathy and empathy, because I am feeling it with you right now. It is very chilly. So, what are we going to do today? First of all, I want to give a much needed shout out to the newest of our Cubendi designs. Cubendi hasn't had some new designs in a while, so we have the National Parks series on Cubendi. These newer geometry of Shashibo. Cubendi is in its own magnetic puzzle system, right? We've been talking about how Shashibo and Ikasa and Octa are all in the same magnetic puzzle system. This is its own magnetic puzzle system. It's got 48 magnets, and it's a unique geometry similar to Shashibo's squared or Ikasa, as some of you have pointed out, but not the same. It is really nice because it has all of these flat faces that give you a wonderful opportunity for these static photos. And so we put all of these beautiful images showing off our great national parks and some of the animals in them. Still folds into a whole bunch of different shapes, and they're beautiful pictures. Plus, when you connect all four of them, when you collect all four of them, you can connect them and create the whole outline. Each one has the section of the U.S. on which it has those national parks. So this is the Northeast region. I had to look and see which section I'd taken out. which is where I am. So beautiful, familiar looking parks right there. And then, anyone a fan of, wait for it, oh my word, of course, it's the last one, the big reveal of Smoky Mountains. Anyone a fan of the Smoky Mountain National Parks? I really like these images. They're nice little decorative pieces for like a coffee table art. They're unique. They're still fidgetable and foldable. They flow a little differently than Shashibo. Super fun to play with. Makes all the same shapes as Cubendi, just with these lovely images on them. And I think the placement did pretty well. I like the little black bear peeking around the corner there. And just a great reminder that we have some beautiful places in our own backyard, even though some of these backyards are pretty far away to check out. So check out those Cubendi series. You know, why don't I build with them a little bit? Kind of see, I haven't gotten to mess around with these a whole lot. I kind of just got these. I'm going to do some of my favorite Cubendi builds and see what we get. This one's a really nice one. If you have some Cubendi at home, I'm making this little kind of weird shape. If you go to that double box and open it down the middle so that you have that hollow piece, you can take one side and open it up, bring it down just like so. And that doesn't look like it really does much of anything until, remind myself how these connect. Oh, right. You take that little overhang that you create and stick it on that side, just like so. We're going to make another couple of those. Luckily, it's a nice and easy shape to make. You might be able to do a little color coordination with this once I kind of figure out how it presents itself on these new Cubendi designs. Oops. But it might end up just looking pretty nice on its own. Yeah. Look at that. And it looks like that a giant version of that donut. With those nice spaces on either side. So super fun stuff that you can do with this really unique geometry. And it's satisfying. The clicks and the clacks, it moves nice and easy. Sometimes people get frustrated with Shashibo getting stuck or turn inside out or something like that. So having something that does not, it just opens up so much more, right? Like that's a nice open ring. Could wear it as a nice crown if you wanted to. Maybe I don't have the hair for a crown somehow. And you can, yeah, just listen to the nice magnets. There's 48 magnets in this thing. Costs the same as the Shashibo. And super satisfying to just kind of let your mind and hands wander through all the possibilities. Here's a fun one. I like making that little, looks like a stretched out UFO. Oh, dropping things today. It's the matte finish on my cold fingers. I have a hard time gripping it. But it has this kind of cool rectangular prism coming out of there. I love the twists and turns of Cubendi. Ooh. Look at how vibrant the colors are. They did a really nice job on the images. I like that when you make this piece right here, this shape, we get not only these nice images on the side that I'm holding upside down, but also when you get it connected just right. See, if I flip it up, then it looks kind of weird and disjointed. I move it this way, I get that awesome cave scene. And each of them have something like that. When you take these middle sections and pull that apart and make the same ribbon, now you've unlocked the animals. And so at first, it's like an exploration, trying to discover all of the images that we've hidden in here from each of the 4 national parks. Excuse me for a moment. Pardon me, everybody. Caribou and I think that's a salmon. Hard to see the colors on it because it's underwater, but Morning Glory. Let's see what image we have here. Oh, that's lovely. I like that they included images from all the different times of year, because we've clearly got some autumn images and some spring, looks like to me. Late summer. Same there. Oh, I missed showing the animals, I think. Lovely bald eagle. And when you collect them all, you end up making not just the outline of all of the states, but a beautiful display. Could do that in multiple different ways, of course, making it even bigger with the 4. And it's just absolutely beautiful. All of those images. And you can make all sorts of different builds. I was like connecting them on the other side. But this time, I'm going to expose all of those scenes that we were talking about earlier. I'm going to get rid of all the animals and get them oriented into their different scenes. Let's see. So, if you're wanting to switch between animals and the scene, the display, we just take that middle section. If what you have is animals, take the middle, pull it apart, and we're just changing the axis that it's folded in on. We want really decisive movements often with Cubendi because it's so flexible that it can fall away from you. There we go. We get all of our scenes going around. So if you know where you're going, go there quickly and smoothly and decisively. That's the best way. Otherwise, you might get tangled up. Shashibo is similar, but it really is better to let it flow. If it doesn't flow, it does not go. And as long as you follow that rule, you're never going to break your Shashibo. These things are really durable. These stickers are strong vinyl. So don't leave them out in the sun, because that's bad for stickers and adhesives in all kinds of senses. It'll fade the colors on the Shashibo and make it peel, because UV rays are really powerful. You can even feel it on your skin when you get a sunburn. So make sure you keep it out of direct sunlight for long-term storage. It's all right if you take it out to the park with you or something like that. I just mean if you leave it in your window for like weeks and weeks, it can really mess up the stickers. Ask any toy store if they've ever displayed them in the window and they'll tell you. And don't force it. As long as you aren't forcing it into shapes, which is why we have that ages 8 and up, because that's really the age where kids start to understand that some of their actions have consequences. And so as long as you aren't forcing Shashibo into any shapes, you will have play for the rest of its days. Because those stickers really are very strong. I've even stood on top of a Shashibo before. I'm afraid of standing on this table, so I'm not going to do it in this live, but I'm not afraid of standing on this cube. So they are very sturdy. Don't you worry. They'll last for a good long time, as long as you teach careful play, which is an important lesson to learn no matter what you're playing with. Let's be honest. Shashibo doesn't just teach careful play. Shashibo doesn't just teach careful play. It also teaches problem-solving skills, pattern recognition, spatial awareness. It's a satisfying toy. It's really fun to play with. It's fun to find the connections between them when you find that perfect fit. Oh, that doesn't show it well because I've got blue on blue. Let's try that one more time. It's really satisfying when you find that perfect fit between two shapes. And when you have just two Shashibo, there are infinite possibilities, literally. I mean, who could even count the number of shapes that you can make with just two? I haven't found the limit yet. Shashibo Holic just tested the wheels durability by putting it between my scooter handle and riding home with it. Didn't want to go too crazy. Nice, dude. That is epic. And that's something I didn't even think of. See, there's another one of your infinite possibilities with Shashibo. Scooter decoration. I bet it would fit on a bike handle too. You know? I didn't even think of that. I'm out here riding my bike Shashibo-less. Well, no more. You've witnessed me become a changed man, everybody. I know my errors, and I will seek to amend them. Isn't that cool? Oh, wait. I gotta do all the same design if I'm really gonna show off how cool that combo is. It's 4 Shashibo in relatively the same shape. Well, I guess 2 of them are in the same shape. The 2 pairs are in 2 of the same shape. And those shapes are the crown and the spaceship. These 2 shapes are just one move away from each other. The crown opens on this hinge right back here into the spaceship. And the way that we get them woven like that is by making the same shape. So if we do something halfway between the crown and the spaceship by opening our book, but just pushing the bottom section forward and leaving this one pointy, we create the lockjawed star. And if I take the point of the star and put it behind the jaw of the other one and do that same mesh over here, I'll have to take this and open it just a little further to get it around the point of that other lockjawed star. And then I will fold them on this hinge, taking this end and pushing them to meet in the middle. Just like so. We have this really cool in-between shape that we can also do some really cool things with, but we're going to move past that for right now because I've gotten distracted plenty of times on these lives and it's not happening today. And another wait. So if I take this shape right here in between and I just let it close, either way, it doesn't matter. We're going to end up with the same thing. So we're going to do that again. Oh, but first, I'm going to show you where those shapes end up. We've got a star, or we've got our crown on the bottom. We can see that crown and its point right up here. It's tough because I use the same design, but it's going to look cool. So don't even worry about it. Take those points, have it mesh like so, and like so. And now, when we flip it, it looks exactly the same on both sides, and it looks exactly the same on both sides. So no matter how we orient it, we have the same shape with those things split. And you can get the same thing by making the queen's crown. I'll use the same design. See how that's the same thing, just stacked on top of each other, but it's not as secure as getting two sections woven together and then magnetized. It's a really fun combo, just for Shashibo. By the way, King Ravana, I saw your comment about it getting down to -8 there tonight. It's supposed to get down to -10 here, and with wind chill, it's like -20. I hope everyone else in the Midwest is surviving. Queen's crown is an excellent shape, Cassandra. You're absolutely right. Also, I don't know if any of you viewing were in Fort Lauderdale this past weekend and attended Flow Fest, but big thanks to Cassandra for making all of that craziness happen. It was incredible. And she's a rock star. Shashiboholic does not recommend riding around with the wheel around your scooter handle because it did get a big tear. I'm so sorry to hear that, my friend. It is one of those things where I think I won, yeah. If you take the wheel and you collapse it so it's loose like this, it's much more susceptible to tears than like this. But when there's pressure in the middle, it's sort of funny. So like my wrist is exactly the size of the middle of that thing, so it holds it pretty solid. But something that's much thinner going through it would actually cause it to open up like that, which is really hard on the stickers. I would not do that for a prolonged period of time. This is very fair. I did grab some sunshine while I was in Florida, Cassandra. It was with you. You were there for the sunshine. And you were the sunshine. Everybody tell Cassandra she's the sunshine. Please. I will be out of town on a trade show next week, guys, so you will be in her very capable hands for a live stream next week, and so just get excited now. and she'll tell you more about when that is at another time. Don't worry about it. There we go, that's a nice one. I want to do some more weaving. You guys are talking about wheels, and we started off with a weave build just on a whim. We're gonna have to do some weaving. We're gonna have to do some weaving. Cassandra gets to be the talent. Yes. Yes, Cassandra. Now I'm gonna have to figure out if I can tune in to watch that. Now, this is an interesting question. What is a weave? Something like this is a very tight geometric fit between different shapes of Shashibo that feels weavish. And I've heard people call something like this a weave, but I would argue that it is not woven because it can just be slid off of the other. I think that a weave requires the changing of shape to get into said weave. And I'm going to elaborate on what I mean with examples, of course, because I have thought about this a lot. In the example that we just had of the lockjawed stars, I do, in fact, not only have to change the shape of one of those lockjawed stars to get it in position, unless I line it up absolutely perfectly and just slide it on, which you can do. I also have to change the shape of each of those lockjawed stars. The weave is not a lockjawed star weave. That's just the shape that you make to transition into said weave. Therefore, this is a weave. Also, I can't detach either of these without, again, changing the shape to get out of it. Another example, my friends, is when I take that same lockjawed star and pull it forward, making the slackjawed star, and take this top part and bring it, kind of closing it and these two sections on the back up into the cube again, we make our stingray. We're going to make two stingrays. Two stingrays. Very tightly meshed together. However, not a weave. They are over and under each other even, but because there is this quick detach, I would argue not a weave. However, when you close them, changing the shape into that tight little ball, you then have to change the shape to be able to get it to detach. Same thing when you push them against each other, which is a definite if it doesn't flow, it doesn't go moment. You should not force that at any point. I did not squeeze very hard to get those sections past each other right there. And I supported that seam the whole way. So it's a very careful one. But if you do it right, and I have videos on how to do it right, you can absolutely protect the longevity of your stickers to make this beautiful woven crystal. And this is absolutely a weave. You really need to work to get those pieces apart. Now, here's a tricky one. And kind of the one that spawned, that made me start to ask this question. Is the anchor a weave? And I think that the answer is no. It's a very complex meshing of shapes, but I don't think that it's woven. And I think that I used to think it was woven just based on the complexity of the shape. but I think that I've changed my mind. I think that it's actually not a weave. Which is, to be clear, a mere dispute of classification, not of coolness. The anchor is incredible, and I'm not dissing it. I want to make that very, very clear before it gets out of hand, all right? Really satisfying mesh, but you don't have to change any of the shapes to get it in or out. But I welcome your dispute in the comments. Let's start a very kind and respectful debate about it. I just got a question from Zach asking me what my favorite Shashibo is. And I am going to answer what I think the meaning of your question is, which is what my favorite design is. But first, I'm going to answer and say that my favorite Shashibo is Dodeca. Because Shashibo started as this original geometry and has become a system, a whole system of geometry that has been expanded to Icasa and Octa. Where the heck is my Octa? Oh no! Disaster! Guys, no! I cannot believe I did not notice till just now that I don't have any Octa nearby. Oh my goodness. They're all behind me. When were you going to tell me? When were you going to tell me that they were all directly behind my head? Goodness gracious. Trying to make me look like a fool, chat. I thought you were on my side. So, Shashibo is a... Thank you, Cassandra. Shashibo is a magnetic puzzle system encompassing the original Ojibo, as the Discord calls it, which is a great name, and I'm happy for Ojibo. But what we call Dodeca, because it makes a dodecahedron, it has 12 tetrahedrons, Dodeca. Icasa, because it represents the largest in the Shashibo puzzle system, just like an icosahedron is the largest platonic solid. And the newest geometry, Octa, which has 8 tetrahedrons. And you can make an octahedron out of it. It makes these double octahedrons next to each other. So there's the reason for the naming system. And to answer your literal question, Dodeca is my favorite of those. I mean, it's really hard to pick one. It's really hard to pick one. And I don't think that that's really the right answer. I just think it's my favorite. Icasa is right behind it, closely followed by Octa, because you really need the whole system. You really need the whole system. Icasa is how you build bigger faster. It's double the size with at least double the possibilities of the original Dodeca. Dodeca is where the build started. It brings rigidity, it brings intricacy to all of these builds, and it's our home base. It is the Ojibo. And Octa is the glue. Octa is the glue that holds it all together. So I can't pick just one, and that's why we made all 3. We didn't pick just one. And to answer your question in good faith, my friend, my favorite design is black and white. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome design. And as we saw earlier, looks great in color coordination. There's 8 of them in the wheel. Such a beautiful design for emphasizing geometry as well as deceiving you. That outside of the ball shape is great for kind of that optical illusion effect. Same with the outside of the cube. I mean, that looks so two-dimensional when I hold it up against the camera, but then I tilt it and you start to see the individual faces and the depth. Same with this one. Looks two-dimensional. Even there, it's only when I move it that it really looks solidly three-dimensional. Super great stuff. Shashibo Holic, and never make the shield with my brand new Shashibo because I have to stretch it, so I've always called it cursed. Well, my friend, let's learn how to make the shield without stretching it. Okay? So my favorite way to get to the shield without stretching is from the ring. When I take my ring and I take any one of the 6 sections of the Shashibo, see, I can pass. There's one facing this way, and one facing that way, and then one facing this way, towards you, towards me, towards you, towards me. The 6 sections, right? Take any one of those sections and pass it through the middle. Now, we're going to make half of our shield on this side, okay? And I'm going to turn it around so you can see that half is made quite easily, right? We're just taking, we're taking this whole section and turning it in towards the center. This section is where we get a little bit of resistance, okay? But as you can see, I'm just lining up this side and then taking this side. This one section is the seam that I'm focusing on, keeping this part in the back a point. There's a few things to keep track of here, but in essence, you're isolating that point that you pass through the middle at the top, taking this side, bringing it in towards the middle, making sure that's a point, and then just focusing on this tab right here, which is right next to your point. This tab, we're just going to bring out until we get it nice and straight. See how we're creating a straight line in this seam right here? And that is where we get over our ridge. And keeping track of those 2 movements is how we get to our shield without really putting any stress on the sticker. Especially, there's more stress when I try and show you really, really slowly. Really, really slowly. But if I just do a nice little switch right there, you can see how it's barely anything. That's my favorite way to get there. I will clip that and repost it and make sure that you guys have all the tools that you need to explore your Shashibo safely. Any other questions from the chat? Your Shashibo is a great way to learn geometry, my friend. In fact, it's got many common geometry terms like a cube. It's got lots of triangles. It's got 3 different types of triangles, actually, and that's a great way to explore your Shashibo. When I open up my cube into the crown, you can really see all of those triangles. You've got one really thin isosceles triangle. That's all different sides. I think that's just an obtuse triangle. That really nice, wide, thin, obtuse triangle right there. And then we've got this right triangle. This right angled triangle is the outside of the cube, is made up of those right triangles. You can see them all outlined, but it looks like just the big face of a square. But you can see that magnetic seam. That magnetic seam is what outlines your right angled triangle. And while you can see it right here, it's going to be easiest to look at it when we open up our crown into the spaceship and you see this big old rhombus and you're saying to yourself, that's not a triangle. And you're absolutely right, my friend. It's in fact made up of 2 equilateral triangles. So it's actually triangles, 2 equilateral triangles. Triangles are a very useful shape. They are used in engineering, in geometry, of course, in math, and in life. You will start to see triangles all over the place. Shapes even have a large impact on how we feel about things. You'll notice that, like, animators and stuff use different shapes in their animations to influence how you feel about that character. They'll use really sharp angles for something that is maybe crafty and quick and sly and smart, and really big round things for friendly, trustworthy, and safe sometimes, or really square things for sturdy, that kind of a thing. So shapes can tell us about a lot of things. You can see that you can use those two triangles to make up a rhombus, and you can use three of those rhombuses or six of those triangles to make up a hexagon. And hexagons have often been referred to as the bestagons. So write that down, because hexagons are, in fact, the bestagons, but they're made up of triangles. So who's really the bestagon? Who knows? Maybe it's triangles, but that doesn't rhyme. In fact, you'll even see hexagons formed by other triangles. We have some rhombuses out here, but we're even seeing those little obtuse triangles that we were talking about earlier. And those obtuse triangles end up making, with a rhombus, a bigger obtuse triangle. And three of those obtuse triangles connected at their edges makes this bigger hexagon. And if you're having trouble seeing that through the hole in the middle, we'll just fill it in. And now you can see even more of those two triangles, except wait a second, those two obtuse triangles make the same kind of rhombus as those equilateral triangles. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So lots of fun ways to get creative about triangles, and with Shashibo, which is made up of many of them. That word that you've been hearing me say, tetrahedron, is a polyhedron, which is a three-dimensional, many-faced hedron shape, essentially, which is this guy right here. You can see there's stickers holding this guy right in the middle to this one on its side and this one on its side, and that is the tetrahedron that I'm talking about. We've got one of those obtuse triangles, one of those right angle triangles, and two of those equilateral triangles at an angle on either side of that obtuse triangle and this one. And that is what makes up the 12 sections of a Shashibo. Each of those sections has three really strong magnets in it, and that is why they're a little pricey. But we make up for that price in really good, strong quality. You will see no problems in connection when you collect with Shashibo, expanding infinitely to discover and master all of the possibilities. I'm having a little indecision about what I want to add up top, but I think I'm going to go with that. So we can't wait to see what you create when you collect and connect with the whole Shashibo magnetic puzzle system, because there is so much to offer and explore with these screen-free, high-quality, magnetic, satisfying, durable, unique toys. I love getting to go to events and festivals where I get to play with these, and families with their kids and adults alike. It's so fun to see the kids be like, I'm not really into this, and then play it with it at my table and keep coming back every 20 minutes for the next few hours. And to see the adults be like, why have you just been here for the last 30 minutes, and start to pick one up and play and have fun and get stumped by it, and actually feel challenged by play in a way that they didn't expect. I mean, I absolutely love the interactions that this has led me to. People saying it's changed their kid's life. I got an email from a mom a couple weeks ago saying that her kid sleeps with his Shashibo in his bed. And I've heard countless stories about it being really great for kids with autism. I can attest to that. I've seen my cousins play with it and absolutely love it. It kind of unlocks a really awesome level of freedom and creativity within them that gets them really excited in a way that you don't often see. My nonverbal cousin would didn't really remember me from visit to visit and still until he started watching my Shashibo videos. And that is a really meaningful connection that I would not have without this incredible toy. And I can't help but wish that more people could experience that. So that's why I do this. So thank you to everyone who has participated in making this small little toy company grow and spread play and make the world a little happier and healthier than it started, because that is our mission. Crossrock, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. One of my favorite things about Shashibo is, although I've been playing with it for 4 years, there's really truly no end. I haven't gotten to a point where I felt like I don't know. I felt like I had mastered my understanding of the geometry in that sense, but I'm still finding new shapes and new possibilities. There's only like over 100 shapes with one, of course. But once you add a second one, you jump pretty much immediately to infinite possibilities, because you can connect each of those over 100 shapes to each of the other over 100 shapes in multiple ways sometimes too. Not to mention the different ways that you can make some of the same shapes. People take them to their local coffee shop and build stuff. Yeah, Shashiboholic, I've seen your coffee shop builds. It's pretty fun stuff. Plus, when I'm chatting on the phone or sitting in a meeting, I really like just letting my hands wander through shapes, feeling the clicks and clacks. Somehow that really like tactile snap, ka-chunk, it actually flips into each of those different shapes. And the magnets sound nice, kind of a little ASMR aspect. It's just a really satisfying way to play. And I just find that it helps my focus. It calms me down when I'm feeling overstimulated, especially like sitting on my screen or something like that, getting a little time to play. And really, like I said, it's a surprising challenge to most adults and kids, of course, as well. But I'm not 100% sure that this is it, but like I feel like kids just haven't really learned what they can't do yet, and so they don't give up on things as easily as adults do. Whereas like I come across a lot of adults who pick it up and don't figure it out immediately, and they're like, "Oh, it's not for me." And it's like, you played with it for 3 seconds. I mean, if you could figure it out in 3 seconds, is it really worth getting? So, the Crosswalk JT is probably at home in Florida. He is our head of e-commerce and has popped in a couple lives here and there, but for the last year or so, I've been doing most of the social media stuff since he's taken on more of a leadership role, which is awesome for him. What I'm doing right now is transitioning, flipping between each of the color orientations of the same shape, which is a really fun thing to do. You can do it with all of the shapes, with the exception, I suppose, of this shape right here, the geode. Technically, that's going to look just like that from all different orientations because it's a perfectly even shape on all three sides. There's literally no other way to make it. But with most of the other things, you can make it in 3 different colors. A little more color selection. Whereas Shashibo, the original Shashibo Dodeca, has a element of this design can only go on this face. Ikasa has that swappable element. It's much more even. And it opens up much more. Make something cool with 2. Easy peasy, my friend. Easy peasy. I mean, I would say one of my favorite things to do with 2 is this shape right here. I'm going to make 2 of this kind of spiral shape with the 3 legs. I just thought of another one that I want to do after this. I'm going to make a couple things with 2 because there's just some really unique combinations out there. So 2 of those spirals, as long as they're going in the same direction, you can get one on top of the other, line it up at the center, and then twist while pushing down slightly to make this really cool combo of 2. Which is one of my favorites. And then there's also the other one that I thought of is one that qualified a shape that I didn't realize was a shape until a little more recently. And that is the smashed mosquito. This guy right here. We call this shape the mosquito. And since you just kind of shift it like so, and it looks a little smashed, I call it the smashed mosquito. And you want a mirrored version of this, which I made 2 of the same on accident. So there's my mirror. And then I'm going to take those 2 shapes at that cross section right there. You can kind of see that X outlined. That's where you're connecting both of them face to face. And it makes that kind of cool. I don't know. It's I don't know if any of you know like Dimension 20, but they call things Brendan Lee Mulligan is referred to a quangle, and I feel like this is a visual representation of a quangle. If I may make a submission for what a quangle looks like, I feel like this. So those are 2 of my favorite kind of really wonky 2 Shashibo shapes. The Crossrock says try 24. 24 would be fun. 24 would be really fun. Let's see. 24 makes me think 2 groups of 12. 12 is really great with Shashibo because it's 4 groups of 3. And so if I did a 4 groups of 6 build, that would be really cool. So is there a cool 2 Shashibo combo that I could do in 4 groups? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, okay. Let me think. Oh, I got to do my favorite 24 Shashibo build. I had to do math on all of my favorite builds. It's the gnome. The gnome is a great guy. We're gonna make 12 gnomes. We're gonna make 24 gnomes. Okay. So this is the shape that we call the gnome. If I open up my crown just like so, and open it like a book, passing this bottom section forward through the middle and taking it down, folding it down just like so. I'm then going to take this top section, fold it down so that those two triangles are kind of pointing in the same direction. And then I'm going to close that like so into the gnome shape. And with 3 of those, I connect them all at their pointy little hats. Oh, I did 2 of them in the same pattern. So it's going to bug me if I don't do the 3rd in the same. There it is. There. See now it's that cool little spiral around the center. Color coordination, man. When you start to collect multiples of different designs, you can do some really cool stuff with that. Oops. Same thing there. Same thing. We don't really have meet and greets at our head office. Our head office is mostly just a warehouse to ship things out of. We have like our own team meetings there, but we set up folding tables in a warehouse essentially. King Nirvana is talking about a 4-piece dragonfly, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why he's talking about him, but he better elaborate sooner. I'm gonna freak out. I am kidding, of course, but I want to know what this 4-piece dragonfly is, man. Why are you holding out on me? Tell me more. I want a different pattern. That one. I'm choosing which pattern I want at that point, and then I'm repeating that on all 3 of them, which gives me this really cool opportunity. Start to see it coming there. Yo, you just bought one today? That's awesome, dude. Your little brother is going to have the best birthday. You might have accidentally roped yourself into getting one for every birthday now, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, you know? You are an excellent big brother, my friend. Or big sister, I should not assume. I don't know why I thought that. But you're an excellent big person. Good job. And you're lucky. You should join our Discord. We have we've got a Discord that you should join. I think it's in like the entry greeting message when you join the live. I'm running modless today, unfortunately, so I can't. I can't send it to you right this moment, but you should absolutely join and check out funandmotiontoys.com and go to our YouTube for all of our awesome tutorials and that kind of thing to get them started, because it can be a little overwhelming. How old is your little brother, my friend? Yeah, the magnets are what allow for this connection when you collect them. So the more Shashibo you have, the more you can do. Like this is 24, making the Shine Hollow cube. I just got a request to make a 24 Shashibo something, and so this is a 24 Shashibo something. He's 14, perfect. Perfect. He's going to have a blast. One of my favorite things is that without even changing a single shape here, I can make something that looks completely different. It's beautiful. Matt Post says, Ezra, why you ignore me? And I haven't seen you in the live for a little while, man. I wasn't ignoring you. I've been here. What am I ignoring you on? If you follow one of my, also, if any of you are reaching out to me on my personal socials, I'm not really on those very often. Oh, yeah, on the TikTok app. If you ask me directly, I didn't see it. But ask Official Shashibo or Fun Emotion Toys. I work through those accounts. It's just me. So if you're ever interacting with Official Shashibo or Fun Emotion Toys on TikTok, hello, it's yours truly, it's me. On Instagram, Facebook, and other places like that, it's usually Star. But on TikTok, it's me. Asked on the TikTok live. Oh, yeah. Thank you for hopping over to Twitch, my friend. I have been missing a bunch of comments over on TikTok, I imagine, because they don't filter through here. But thank you to all of our viewers on TikTok. So if any of you are wondering what why I've been ignoring you over on TikTok, that's purely on me, and I'm so sorry. I've just been going. What's holding the blue Shashibos on the wall? I don't really know. How do they get up there? That's wild. Huh. I must have just like put a screw through them or something. I don't know. That's weird. Can't recommend doing that. Alrighty. Any other requests, my friends? Do we want to see something new? I can't tell you because it doesn't exist, man. You're making things up. I want to make this pillar bigger. I'm gonna make this pillar bigger, and that's what we're gonna end it on. These things are so satisfying. I'm so glad you got yourself a Shashibo. They are the best. They're so much fun. They're super satisfying to make connections with, to just flip and fold through the magnets, the tactile effects. It's so fun, and it's really engaging for kids and adults alike. I mean, like, a lot of the people that we sell these Shashibo to are like 18 to 25-year-olds. But they're great for all ages, 8 and up, kids and adults alike them. They're great for kids on the spectrum, especially, as well as, I mean, really, kids with any kind of neurodivergence. Matt, you can reach out to me through Discord. Just DM me. Me or JT, either one of us. But DM us. If it's a personal thing. If it's a general question, ask the whole group. If it's something personal, reach out to us directly. Great question. And any of our affiliates, please DM me. I'm very reachable. I check every day except the weekends. So I see a great question from the Cross Rock. I'm going to finish this build and then I'm going to get to that amazing question. So I just want to make sure you know your scene, but I don't want to get distracted in the middle of this build. I did all of that way out of order. That's why it's falling apart on me. But yeah, there's a Discord, GMGP. There should be like a link inviting you to it when you enter the live stream. Here, I can put one in the. Join the Discord right down there, everybody. If you're not in there, you're missing out. And if you're also as passionate as me about spreading the good word about Shashibo, join our affiliate program. We need more people out there who know the product well. If I hear one more affiliate call this thing a Shashibo, I'm gonna freak out. And there we go. The beautiful pillar. It has been created. It shall be transported safely. And that is the power of strong magnets, everybody. Why is Shashibo expensive? That is exactly why. That's how many? 40 Shashibo. I just grabbed a few of them at the bottom and lifted it over there. That's incredible. So Crossrock asked about, this isn't your exact wording, but you in essence asked about the difference between Shashibo squared or Icasa and Cubendi, which I just have here. So, very similar geometries here, and you're asking if Shashibo squared Icasa can make the donut. And the answer is no, because the donut, the hole in the donut, is kind of an imperfection. The geometry of cubendi was stretched so that when you fold it up a certain way, you get a cube. When you fold Shashibo squared up in that same way, you get a box. So what happens when I take a ribbon of the Shashibo squared, which is a much more even triangle setup, and I rotate it one like that, it looks like the exact same ribbon and it wraps up in the exact same way. When I fold this out into that ribbon and rotate it one and wrap that up, that's where we get our donut, because it's off by one. So cubendi and Shashibo squared are not the same thing. Cubendi is kind of a fidgety, name the picture cube kind of, because it has all these flat faces for these nice pictures. It's more fidgety, and it technically it has like a different amount of magnets and that kind of a thing. Shashibo squared has 72 magnets. It's much bigger, it's much more even, and it's compatible with the original Shashibo. So, alrighty. There you go, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out in the live. I hope to see you next week. You will see Cassandra live next week. We'll tell you all about it in the Discord. If you haven't already joined the Discord, please join it via this link that I just put down there again. We would love to see you in there asking questions, showing us your builds, and getting in the community. So thank you guys for hanging out for the live. You'll get more announcements about lives for the upcoming week on the Discord. We can't wait to see you there, and have a great weekend.